we're going even further old back school. We got the whiteboard and no microphone, so I'll just speak up a little bit louder. Hopefully everyone can hear me. But for the past 3 months, like I said, we've been going over this idea of what is Peeled Oak's mission. Now, when I say mission, a lot of different things come to your mind, but when we talk about mission, we talk about what is the driving force for our church right now to the, what we're doing, everything that we build upon. Why are we doing it? And the church has really never had a strong mission statement. And the analogy I always use is, just imagine we're on a sandbox. Like we're little tiny animal, what the kids play with. We're little toys with our little cars. Now, if our goal was for all of us to travel that entire sandbox, each and every one of us, but we all just went in different directions, it'd be chaos. It'd be chaotic trying to get everything together, making sure everybody was where they needed to be, making sure we covered all this different ground. But if the entire church is behind one driving force and we can all come together with it, then it makes it a lot easier to realize what we're doing and why we're doing it. So as we thought about, what are we doing, what do we want to accomplish, finally we came up with a statement that's here in front of you. Now, if you can see it, you've already read it, but I want to read it in case you can't see it. And then I'm going to go through today and explain why we chose these words, why we said this thing, and what it means is for the church and what it means for us. But in front of me here, the Peeled Oak's mission statement is to transform the Preston community by reaching out to show love and spread the message of God. Now you might notice that's pretty vague. It really doesn't have anything we're trying to do. There's no thing that you can say, okay, we've accomplished this now. And that's the goal. Because as a mission statement, we're always striving to get there. But it's really hard to measure if you ever get there. So this idea of a mission statement is something we hope we can always keep going further and further into. Now, like when we came up with this statement might not mean a lot to you right now. It really probably doesn't make you excited, make you happy, or a million things come into your mind, but hopefully by the end of the sermon you understand why we did this, and hopefully you can try to get behind it. Now, a 30, 25-minute presentation of this is not going to be enough to completely change everything we do. It's going to take each week, each day, trying to accomplish this in our own lives and as the church in general. And as we go from here, in the next few weeks, we're going to be looking at ways that the reasons behind what we're doing here, what Scripture shows us how we can do it. But this statement, it takes a culture change. Now here at Peeled Oak Christian Church, it's pretty comfortable. I mean, we see the same people every Sunday. Most of us sit in the same seats, except GB, Hazel, and me apparently switched seats today. They took my seat. But besides that, we usually sit in the same seats. We see the same people, sing sort of the same songs, do the same things. It can become so insider-focused that we forget that we're supposed to be reaching outsiders too. Now, it might seem a little difficult, but what I mean by insiders is us. Those who meet here every Sunday, or at least every couple Sundays a month, once a month. The outsiders, though, are those people around us that don't go to church. Not that just don't go to our church, but don't go to any church in general. They might believe in God, but they don't do anything with their relationship with God. And in our calling, this is what our focus should be. So in the light of that focus on the outsiders, this is the statement that we came up with. Now, I'm going to break it down, like I said, little bit by little bit, and we're going to see exactly why we said everything we said. So the very first little bit is our mission is to transform the Preston community. Now you might be saying, well, Bradley, you realize we're not actually in Preston. Yes, I know this. I've understood at least that little bit of the area around us. But what I mean by the Preston community is essentially everyone around us. I told people multiple times, the reason I took this job was because I knew there was room for growth. There's hundreds of people, if I said millions, not even a million people here, but there are hundreds of people around us who don't go to church, who aren't church, who could care less. We're not just some dying country church that's going to have 10 people for the rest of their life. There are a ton of people around us that need to be in here, that need to know about the relationship with God. So when I say the Preston community, I mean everyone around us. I don't mean necessarily people in the Owensville city limits. I don't necessarily mean the people in Mount Sterling. They pass a ton of churches to get here. Let the churches over there reach those people. But if you think about it, we have a few churches here around this area. And if you look at any of them on a Sunday morning, they're not even close to being full. So when we say transform the Preston community, we're saying we're trying to go out and change the culture of Preston, the area around here. We could focus on Mount Sterling or Owensville city limits, but I want you to realize how many people, if you've ever went with us to visit people, how many people don't even know this church is here? And second of all, just how many people are around us. It's kind of hard to think about it. You know, we have this kind of country idea, but there are a lot of people around here that don't go to church. Within a 10-mile, within a 5-mile radius, there are a bunch of people. And our focus here is going to be trying to reach those people. And that means it takes 2 minutes to get to where the people we're trying to reach. It doesn't take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or an hour to go reach someone. It takes us no time. And that means it's easy. It doesn't mean we have to go out of our way or it's super difficult. The purpose of this is that it's easy to do, but we just got to do it. Another thing about this very beginning, you might realize it doesn't say to make Peeled Oak Christian Church grow to a certain amount of number. Because that's not really our goal and our mission. You see, if we do this, we will grow. But we can do a lot of things that transform the community that might not bring people in. But it's because we are outsider focused that we're willing to look over maybe we don't get as many people, but we truly transform the community. And we're willing to look at that as our goal. Because if we ever want to affect a life change in someone's life, then we've got to change what they're doing every day. We got to do a bunch of different things. And that's why it leads into the second part by reaching out. Now, just that term in general, everybody reach out. Yep. Everybody reach out. I know you got arms. Everybody reach out. Okay, everybody's reaching out. So you realize if you reach out, you're going to hit somebody in the face, you're going to slap someone on the back, and more than likely you're just covering a bunch of room. So this term of reaching out is a term that we can see in our mind. You see, oftentimes the church just has their hands like this, trying to avoid people as much as possible, trying not to, bump into anybody in case they ask any questions or make any statements. But our goal here is to reach out. It's to go into the community. It's to bump shoulders with people. It's to reach out. It's to touch people. It's to bring people closer in to see what we got going on. But this term reach out, I think one of the goals we're going to have with this to accomplish this is the fact that we need 70 to 80% of the events that we usually have to take place outside of the church walls. Now that might seem crazy. That's like a bunch of stuff. But as we started talking about stuff, we started naming some of the things we do. We wanted to do a movie night. We wanted to go, we wanted to have meals. Just a couple of things like that. But if we want to reach out, let's rethink it. Instead of just having a movie night here at the church, what if we talked to the Preston Fire Department and said, hey, can we come and use your property and just have a bunch of people come and watch a movie. We'll pop popcorn, bring your families, and we'll have a big open area for everyone to come see. You see, it's not just staying close, but it's reaching out. It's simple, but it's reaching out. The meals we have here. You guys already know when we have meals, we're already going to have a bunch of people that come that don't normally come. Because, free food. I would do the same thing. But instead of just coming here and maybe reaching 10 more people, what if we went out and went to a community? Grilled hamburgers, grilled hot dogs, had some live music. Change the way we do things by reaching out. See, it's simple things that we're doing, but just adding another layer to it. Just adding a little bit more focus that comes into contact with our mission statement. But it goes even beyond that. We talked about this arc. We're going to be going in September because if you were outside this week, you realize it was really hot. I would not like to be standing outside that entire time. But what if we went to the ark, we invited people from outside of our church? What if we even invited people from other churches? We said, hey, the church is around here. Let's just come together and let's all go to the ark together. Or what if we reached out and had some deal with people who had a bunch of kids? And said, what about if this deal, would this make it easier for you to come? It's all about that reaching out. But it's not easy. It's so ingrained in our minds to bring everything here. To do everything here. Because this is our church. This is our meeting place. But our goal right now, we'll notice people aren't just flooding in our doors. If they were, it'd be a different story. But they're not. They're not flooding in the doors. They're not beating down the doors Sunday morning to come in. They're just not. So that means we got to reach out and go talk to them. We got to reach out and go visit them. We got to reach out and do things for them and with them. But it takes a culture change. It's not always going to be easy. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be mistakes in the road. But the beginning of this statement is all about the fact that we got to go. We have to go. The very first word of the statement that Jesus gave his disciples is go, not stay. He doesn't say stay and make disciples of this church. He says go and make disciples of all nations. And that's where we start here. We can't really affect the nation, but it starts here. It starts in Preston. Once we affect Preston, then we can move on. But right now, we can't turn a blind eye to the people around us to help those we can't see. We got enough problems going on around us that we need to help change those people. Those people we go to work with, those people we farm with, those people we see on a daily basis we drive by. That's our goal, is to affect those people. And I think we can. With the people we have coming, with the dedicated people we have coming to church, I know we can start to make this change in people's lives. The next section, it kind of starts what we're going to be doing. So it says to show love. Now this might seem basic, it might seem simple. It's like, oh, okay, Bradley, show love. Yeah, all right, whatever you want to say. That's what we do anyways. But really think about it. When we go and do stuff, we have to have a mentality of love. We have to have a mentality of, we don't just want to convert you because we want more numbers in our seats, but we want you to come here because we love your soul. We know your soul can have a much better life if we're to come here and learn about God. See, love is our focus of when we're going, of how we approach what we're doing. Love is the way that we do things. It's not mean-tempered. It's not something that you're obligated to do, but it's something you do because you want to show the love of God to the people around us. And if it's for any other reason than that, then we're off focus. We can show love because God first loved us. We were once broken. We were once those people that said, man, the church said, man, let's go and get those people. Like, we need to make sure they stay in because we care about them. But now it's focused. Now we're in. Now we got a relationship with God. But we can become so blinded by what the insiders do that we completely forget what it means to be an outsider. What it means to be someone who doesn't go to church regularly, who doesn't have a relationship with God, who could care less about, coming to Pilled Up Christian Church. But if we change that focus to love, we look over barriers. We look over things that might normally say, nah, I really don't feel like doing that. But it's this love to transform the community that anchors our mission. We reach everyone so that we can show the love of God to those people. And then the final statement says, and spread the message of God. This is what it comes down to. This is how we affect the Preston community. This is how we show love. This is how we reach out. It's by spreading the message of God. We can add a bunch of things to it. We can add a bunch of things to do, but when it comes down to it, the reason we do it all is because of the message of God. It's not for the numbers. It's not for the fame. It's not for the glory. It's not for a pat on the back. It's because the message of God has showed us this is what we need to do. Now this looks differently, and this is sort of broad, if you might tell. How do you spread the message of God? You're not just going to go to someone and say, hey, real quick, let me just read the whole Bible to you, okay? All right, just sit there. That's obviously not going to happen. But if you say, hey, what about this passage right here? Let me tell you about this story. Let me tell you about this image. What about this idea? Have you ever thought of it like this? See, there's different ways of doing it. There's different ways of spreading the message of God. But on one side of it, that means we got to know the message of God. It means we got to know the answers. When people say, well, why do you even go to church? You say, man, this book right here, it's changed my life. When they say, well, what do you think about this? You might not always have the answers, but you got to have an answer. And you got to be confident. So that means we got to know the Bible to spread the Bible. And that's sort of difficult because, as one of my professors said, usually atheists carry one argument about the Bible that completely throws them away from their faith. There's usually one argument that they've heard on Facebook, they've seen online, that completely throws them away from the Bible. But if you can answer that one thing that they have, then they have no reason not to come to church. Now, it's not always that easy. But in my life, I found that's true. There's usually just one big thing that people don't come to church for. But if you can address that with love, then you're open to ask them to come to church because there's really no reason. The last two sections of this, to show love and spread the message of God, I think it comes down to what Jesus said. A man was talking to him. He said, what is the greatest commandment? He said, to love God and love your neighbor. To love God with every single ounce of your soul, and to love your neighbor. Those are the greatest commandments. Then that needs to be our focus. And if you look at our mission statement, it's exactly what we're doing. We're loving our neighbor and loving God. We love God because we love others. We love God because even though this is going to be difficult, even though the church is going to change a lot of the things they do, we look over that because of our love for God. We don't get so focused on what we need to do for ourselves, me and you, that we don't follow God's commandments to go. But I want to be honest with you. It's going to take a lot. And it's not going to be accomplished in a week. or a month, not a year. It's going to take a long time. But if you're willing to commit yourselves to this idea, to this statement in front of you, to this statement we've discussed, I can guarantee things will be different. It might happen slowly, it might happen fast. But I can guarantee if we were truly follow this statement, if we were to put our hearts in the mission of the church as this statement right here, I guarantee things will change for the better. Because I know the people we have in here. And these aren't just words that we randomly wrote down so that people could think we're cool. These are words crafted for this church, for Peeled Oak Christian Church, for the people we have in here today, and the people that are outside of the walls today. Every single thing that we've came up with has been to change. But if we want to transform, change the community, we've got to change the way we do things. We've got to change the way we do this or that. And we'll talk about it. We'll discuss it. And if you ever have any ideas of how we can help, how you can help, then come to anybody in the church. Doesn't have to be me. Doesn't have to be anyone who stands up on Sundays. It could be anybody. But this is our mission statement. This is our mission as a church right now. I want to close just by reading it one more time. I'm going to close with a word of prayer. I'm going to ask God to just give us the strength and the ability to accomplish this. To give us the knowledge to see how to, and give us the courage to go after. But Peeled Oak's mission statement is to transform the Preston community by reaching out to show love and spread the message of God. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you after a lot of hard work, after a lot of back and forth deciding what we need to do as a church, after a lot of praying, after a lot of asking, and we come to this one statement we know you've given us help with. So God, each word of this phrase, each word of this statement, God, I pray that you would give us strength to accomplish it. That everything we do would be able to be accomplished because of your working in our lives. God, I pray for the strength that we would be able to go. That we would be able to go time after time again, even when we're told no by people. Even when it seems like things aren't working. Even when it seems like we're not having any luck. God, I pray that you give us strength to get through. God, I pray that you give us courage to go and talk to those people we wouldn't normally talk to. To do things we wouldn't normally do. God, I pray that you convict us, each and every one of us, to help accomplish this mission in some way. God, some of us live in Mount Sterling, some of us live far away, some of us, though, live close. And each and every one of us, no matter our age, our relationship with people, our lives, our distance from this building, we're all called to this mission. That means we all can affect it, and we all got to work towards it. But God, I pray that you watch over us, that you would help us get closer to this mission each day, each Sunday, each conversation we have with people around us. God, I pray that we would be able to become more and more focused and plan to reach and transform the community. God, thank you for this day that we can come together and evaluate our church and what it's supposed to be doing. And I pray that you would continue to be with us each and every day as we go from here on out. To your Son's name we pray.